Today's episode of the Bleav in Steelers podcast is brought to you by betonline.ag. In week 16 of the NFL season is nearly wrapped up. If you want to place a bet on the NFL action, betonline.ag, Ike, is the place to do it.
365, 24/7. Whenever you're thinking or have a thought, or just if you want to, make sure y'all go to betonline.ag.
Head to the new and updated desktop or mobile website to sign up today to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code Bleav50, that's BLEAV50, to receive your bonus. Bet online, where the game starts. All right, cue the music. It's time to start the show. Welcome to the Bleav in Steelers podcast on the Bleav Podcast Network. I'm your host, Mark Bergin, joined as always by my guy, two-time Super Bowl champion and 12-year veteran of the Pittsburgh Steelers, number 24, Ike Taylor. IT, I'm licking my wounds a little bit here on this Monday morning following the Chiefs' beatdown of the Steelers, final score 36-10. I was there at Arrowhead, Ike, but it's a rough Monday morning considering the performance of the Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday.
Yeah, it looked bad on TV, so you was there in person, so I can only imagine. Thank God I wasn't there. But yeah, the Pittsburgh Steelers, especially on the defensive side, is what I expect. You know, this is exactly what's going on. We have been inconsistent throughout the whole year. So I'm tired of being pissed off. I'm tired of being mad. I'm tired of hoping and wishing. I'm tired of reminiscing about how we used to be back in the day. It's not like that anymore. It's not like that on offense. It's not like that on defense. The personalities, the violence that we play with, what we doing that we play with, not what me doing, it's just different, bro. So I'm just kind of immune to it. I ain't really upset no more. Like when Pittsburgh do this to me, man, it's just like, you know what, I kind of figured. So they need to clean house. That's what they need to do, Mark. Pittsburgh needs to clean house. A few on the coaching staff and a few guys who don't want to or don't know how to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. They got to clean the whole house, man. I thought they should have cleaned the house last year, my personal opinion. But now it's just, you know, everything is spreaded. You know, the virus didn't spread throughout the whole locker room, and you can just tell. You know, so that's just what it is, man. It was a slow leak, wind up becoming, you know, major damage in the house. And it's just in the way they're acting, in the way they playing, this was just it was soon to come. It just took a couple of years for it to happen. You start looking at the ABs and the offensive linemen talking about Le'Veon Bell. That was our first heads up on what's going on in the locker room. Then you just fast forward a little bit from there, you know, Juju and the TikTok and all that. They was giving us what's really going on in the locker room. They was giving us the me section. This about me, you know. And it's just over the matter of years, 5 or 6 years, this what it became. You know, it's all about me. It's you fast forward to that, then, you know, if my offensive lineman didn't hit the ball out of my hand, it wouldn't have been 10 more seconds on the play clock that was running down with the Chase Claypools. They've been giving it to us. We just ain't been paying attention to the signs, because if you just say the organization still is football, you just know how we once was. And this coming from the 70s. And you just think, man, once you go into the building, this is exactly how you're supposed to act. This is what you're supposed to do. I know Pittsburgh can turn things around. They can figure it out. It ain't like that no more, bro. It ain't like that no more. So I don't even be disappointed no more, Mark. I just be looking at the situation like, until they clean house, man. until they clean house. How talking to a former teammate of mine, man, how you just you got millions sitting in front of you. But you rather take it like you can be a generational game changer in your family. But you worrying about the wrong thing. You worrying about followers and all that good stuff. Somebody ready to sign you a check. All you gotta do is stay in shape and make a few plays on the field. Somebody ready to give you a $50 million check. But you so worried about who likes you off the field instead of on the field. They only like you because you're on the field. For real. So you might as well just get all the bread you can get. But how the Pittsburgh Steelers doing for these last couple of years, they've been giving us a sign. They've been telling us the locker room has been torn apart. They've been showing us it ain't what the old Pittsburgh Steelers used to be. They've been showing us, man, there's more me than we. They've been showing us. We just couldn't believe it. Just out of all the traditional players and, just hearing the stories on how it used to be, we thought in our head, nah, not the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yeah, it's them. It's them.
Ike, I'm glad you could save that thunder for this podcast this morning. Very heartfelt analysis there. And Ike, even if the Steelers snuck into the playoffs, I look at it from this perspective. It's coming from a player that you just heard from that played for the team for 12 years. You were in that locker room. You understand what the culture is as an organization traditionally. Even if the Steelers made the playoffs and won their final 2 games, they'd need to get some help and everything too. Good luck with, if you saw yesterday, if yesterday's performance was any indication, you're not going to do anything once you're there. So what are we talking about? Because from day one, Ike, since I've known you, when we started this show in October of 2019, playoffs, at the end of the day, who cares? You're measured by how and whether you can hoist the Lombardi at the end of the season if you're a member of the Pittsburgh Steelers organization. This team's nowhere close. Even if you snuck in, even if you avoided Mike Tomlin's first losing season and he's in year 15, even if you did those things, you're not going to win a Super Bowl with this roster the way that it's constructed right now. It's a myriad of problems. Mike Tomlin even said it in the post game yesterday. So it's not just one thing. It's a lot of the same things we've talked about all season long, Ike. When you're talking about me and we, that's a cultural thing. And the thing that's amazing about that is if you flip the M upside down and you go from me to we, the M turns into a W and you win games and you're at least competitive. Right. When you were talking about at one point yesterday, it was the largest deficit Big Ben had faced in his career. We're talking about a Steelers team that's been historically bad. 5 consecutive games without a first half touchdown. That hasn't been done since 1940, Ike. So, hearing this from you, and I could list you, I've got a ton of other stats I could point to, Ike, on today's show, but those 2 things to me were an indication of what you're talking about. Culturally, the Steelers will need to sort out in the offseason. So let's go there. Kevin Colbert calls Ike Taylor on the phone. You mentioned clearing house. What would be your biggest priority in the offseason for the Steelers? Because, they've got 2 games left in the regular season. But, again, let's be honest here. If the Steelers still sneak into the playoffs somehow, they're not doing anything once they get there. Kevin Colbert calls you on the phone, asks you, Ike, what should we do in the offseason? What would be your priority?
I got to get a quarterback. My first priority is getting a quarterback. My second priority is getting a true D tackle. I'm getting a true 3-4 D tackle. So as quarterback, I'm getting a true 3-4 D tackle because it seems like the Pittsburgh Steelers can't stop the run, and we really don't have a true 3-4 D tackle. I got true D tackles in the 4-3, and that's Tuitt, and that's Cam. They're my real true, 4-3 D tackles. But I need a real true 3-4 D tackle so I can take some of that pressure off of Tuitt and Cam Hayward when it comes down to the run game, so them boys don't get double team every time. Let my true D tackle, my nose tackle, and the 3-4 is what they call it. Let him get double team and let my 2 other boys work. Then after that, I'm going to give me another outside linebacker to go with T.J. Watt. Then after the outside linebacker, so it's quarterback, it's D tackle, it's outside linebacker. Then after that, man, I'm going to get me a safety. But I'm going to get me a safety. I'm going to get me a Buda Baker kind of safety. I'm going to get the Arizona Cardinals kind of safety. Well, all them guys want to do is come down here, smack in the face, FaceTime. That's what I'm gonna get. I need to get some personality back on that defensive side. And really, if I can, I'm gonna call Cincinnati, see if I can buy out Mike Hilton. You and I talked about this in the offseason. We said one thing about this young man, he is a Pittsburgh Steelers. And you seen what Cincinnati been doing, and you seen of late who has been the star on that defense and been laying the wood and making interceptions. It's been Mike Hilton. Then after that, man, I'm gonna get me another outside corner. But that's where I'm going, man. I'm going quarterback, D tackle, outside linebacker, safety corner. But all I'm drafting is Steelers. I'm not drafting. All I'm drafting is Steelers. I need guys who got some records on them, who has some off the field issues. That's what I need. I need some of them guys because I know they're gonna fight on the field to the all 4 zeros on that clock in the fourth quarter, because that's what we had when we was winning Super Bowls. We had guys who had issues off the field, including myself. But the coaching staff and the players knew, man, I can go anywhere in the world with this dude. You need some of them. You need some of them on the football team. That's how a football team is built. You need guys who are nerds. You need guys who are artistic. You need guys who just don't give a F.
Yeah.
And you mix them three together, we all balance each other out. That's why I love the sport of football. You know? You balance all three of us out, man. A guy who's artistic, he can talk to me and tell me something that I didn't know. I can probably share a story or two with him that he might think it's amazing. I can learn something from my nerdy offensive guard or linebacker, you know, that I probably couldn't learn in school. But we all got one goal, and that's winning championships. And we all like doing something that's being very violent. That's why I love the game of football. No matter where you're from, what size, what color you are. Hey, man, what's our goal? Smacking people in the face, being a Pittsburgh Steeler. That's our goal. So, yeah, I'm getting – Pittsburgh got to go back to getting edgy guys. Every Super Bowl run we've had, we have more edgy guys than none. But the edgier our team was, the more respect we have for each other. That's you got to have an edgy team to win Super Bowls. You got to check the backgrounds and be like, you know what? This dude could be a head case, but, man, look what he's doing for us on the field. And if I get him around the right group, like a Tyrann Mathieu, Honey Badger. I remember, man, we wanted to get Tyrann Honey Badger. Man, but they said he was a head case. We need that head case. Who wouldn't want to be behind a Troy Polamalu in his prime and a Ryan Clark sitting back there? Who want the man? Y'all gonna find a way to get him on the field because he's just that talented, and he's learning from the best, and he's edgy. You got to have that edge. A James Harrison, he's edgy. Joey Porter, he's edgy. James Ferrier, he's edgy. You know, Shazier at one point in time when he was healthy, he's edgy. Ike Taylor sitting out down the corner, he's edgy. Troy Polamalu, he's edgy. Like all us, Jason Gilden, we're edgy. Lamar Woodley, we're edgy people. You know, Lawrence Timmons, we're edgy. Clark, we were just edgy people. You couldn't even look at us wrong without getting in the fight. But we took that to the field. They don't have that, man. They don't have that, man. I'm seeing kids in uniforms, man. They, as soon as the game is over, man, 3-4 posts on Instagram, like, bro, you ain't even play. You ain't even get in the game. You ain't even get in the game. So that's the first thing you're doing. You running straight to your phone. You ain't pissed off. You ain't crying. You ain't mad. You ain't like, dang, man, I got a potential to make $100 million, but I just want to be viewed as a Instagram or a social media person. Man, in this day, I would have made $200 million because everybody who's tough now, Buda Baker, the safety from Arizona, he just damn near got $100 million off of toughness. Itty bitty Buda off of toughness. Honey Badger. He keep getting paid off of toughness. These kids don't see that. So all I got to do is be tough. My son and my nephews, they're going to wind up getting paid off of toughness because off of toughness. It's crazy. Toughness has become rare in the NFL. But you got to have them edgy players. To win Super Bowls, you got to. You know, and I be trying to knock the Dallas Cowboys. I be trying to find a way. But if you look at the D-line between, McGregor and Parson, like, who else? Diggs. Who else they got? DeMarcus Lawrence. Like, them guys edgy. They always had something in the offseason. Now, someone was always – they was doing something, whether they was in college or in the league. But you see how they playing? They edgy. The offensive line for the Dallas Cowboys, they edgy. Zeke at one point in time, man, when he was in his prime, he was edgy. He was always doing that's how you win chips. When KC won, they Super Bowl. They running backs, they was edgy. They had a few off the field issues. The defensive line, they had a few off the field issues. You edgy. Tampa won their Super Bowl. A lot of guys on that defense, JPP, he edgy. Some guys, you need that. You know what I'm saying?
I love your roadmap. Let me hop in here really quickly here. I love your roadmap and giving that personality, that edgy personality that you mentioned, and channeling that the right way. I love your roadmap. I'm going to go on the flip side of the ball, and this was most evident when I was at the game yesterday. Talked about Najee Harris and what he's done. I'm going to go on the offensive line, and I've harped on this point all season long. I understand you've got 2 rookies and a second-year player that you're starting. They're young players. I understand that Pouncey and David DeCastro are now no longer their future Hall of Fame players. You've got to go back and establishing the line of scrimmage because there were no holes for Najee to run through yesterday. And when I look at the last 5 games, you're outscored 97-9. The cardiac Steelers that we've seen the last several weeks, they've been entertaining to watch. They've given us gray hair, Ike. You can't win football games consistently when you put yourself in a massive deficit game after game after game after game. And I know you point to the defense because you were a defensive player. But when I look at yet another game where the Steelers lose time of possession, Steelers defense was out on the field trying to stop Patrick Mahomes, the best quarterback in the league, or one of the best quarterbacks in the league, for almost 35 minutes yesterday. It felt like it was 45. And I think the Chiefs called off the gas because they ended up benching Mahomes later in the game because they had such a big lead in this game. So you mentioned the defensive side of the ball and the personalities. What happened to running the football? What happened to establishing the run? The reason why you drafted Najee Harris in the first round. You don't have the dogs to do it up front. You've either got to invest serious draft capital in this offseason or go out and spend your money upgrading the offensive line because at $12 million, that ranks near the bottom of the league. And the Steelers haven't drafted an offensive lineman in the first or the second round for 9 years now. And that was evident yesterday. Najee Harris is dancing in the backfield because he doesn't have a hole to run through. I saw that yesterday firsthand at Arrowhead.
Here's my thing with Najee. And I love Najee.
Me too.
He got to start going north and south. He's been doing a lot of east and west. And if you look at from the Alabama days, I've been studying Najee for the past 2 years now. Mm-hmm. From his Alabama days, a lot of his plays has been outside. So I need Najee to stick his foot in the ground, give me a 3 to 4 yard game. And because I know when that fourth quarter comes and you've been giving me these 3 to 4 yard gains, ain't nobody going to tackle you. Yeah. Y'all know you're athletic. Y'all know you can jump over people. I get all that, Najee. But Najee, man, I need you to stick your foot in the ground. Stick your foot in the ground and come down with a personality. Come downhill with a personality. And that's just look at the teams who run it. The A.J. Dillon from the Green Bay Packers. He stick his foot in the ground. And he come down with the Aaron Jones. He stick his foot in the ground. Even a wobbled Zeke last night. He stuck his foot in the ground. Pollard used to the outside runs, the sweeps and the tosses. Now today I gotta stick my foot in the ground. You stick your foot in the ground, man. You that's the personality. That ain't nothing but a want to. I love Najee. But for me, it's a lot of east and west, Mark. It's a lot of east and west. But
what I saw yesterday, Ike, is the holes weren't there. I totally hear what you're saying. And I totally hear what you're saying going north and south because Steelers don't have a rush this year of more than 30 yards. You can look this up. Their longest run this year, something like 27 yards this year. So I understand Najee's not going to be your traditional home run hitter. He's not going to be your speed, your scat back. But you start going north and south, and you'll have runs more than 30 yards. You stretch the defense, you establish play action. It goes back to a lot of the problems that the Steelers have had on offense that we've talked about ad nauseum here, Ike, on the Bleav in Steelers podcast.
Yeah, that started in training camp, though. that start, and you know better because you played. That start with a 907. That ain't number 907. For the people who don't know what 907 is, it's 9 guys on defense and 7 guys on offense. But the 7 guys on offense still trying to establish the run. And once you get that going, once you set that tone, for the season. You set your personality as an offense. Once you come with these 907s, it's a wrap. Man, if I can get a yard or two, if I can get 3 yards on a 9-man team and we only got 7, sure, we're gonna be good when it's 11 on 11.
Yeah.
But that all starts in training camp in my mind. But I'm getting thrown off a little bit. I apologize.
No, you're fine, Ike. The Chiefs have won their 6th straight division, 62 years of the AFC West. That's never been done. I saw this team lose to the Titans earlier this year. The last time the Chiefs played in person, I was there in Nashville. I thought they were dead to rights. I didn't even think the Chiefs would make the playoffs. And here they are at the top of the AFC at the very end of the season. 2 games left in the regular season too. But again, this one wasn't even close. Before we move on to Taylor talk, Ike, is there anything else that you'd like to discuss from Steelers and Chiefs? Because I think we hit the nail on the head from what we saw on Sunday.
No, I think we discussed. I think you gave me the mic for a good little bit, so I appreciate it. But I think I said everything I need to say to this point.
Like I said, I'm glad you could save the fire for the podcast, Ike, because I know that how much that means to you. I always say 12-year NFL veteran, but it's a 12-year veteran of the Steelers, all 12 years. So I know just how much that means to you personally. But we will move on to Taylor talk and the footage courtesy of NFL Game Pass. Ike, I chose the play of the Steelers' failed flea flicker. So to set this up for our viewers and listeners, this was in the first quarter. The Chiefs had gone down and scored a touchdown. Steelers open the drive at the 25-yard line. This is in the first quarter. Steelers trail by 7. First play of the drive here. And Ike, we're going to see a cover 3 technique. And so I'll let you explain to the listeners and the viewers what that means. And I can say who's each player's responsibility if you need help with that, Ike. But Steelers on their failed flea flicker here, going up against a cover 3 defense that the Chiefs are running here.
So for all the viewers who don't know, a cover 3 defense is defense, so it's 4 under 3 deep. So it's 3 linebackers and the safety probably come opposite side of the strong linebacker. And the 3 deep is 2 corners and the safety. The 2 corners got both thirds of the field. The middle post free safety has the middle of the field. But this is one of the reasons why this flea flicker didn't work, because the running game wasn't working. And the only time it works is when you have a running game. But if I'm on the defensive side and I'm not going to get fooled, and I know the Pittsburgh Steelers at this point in time don't have a running game, I'm looking at the hi-hats of the offensive line. Because usually when you're passing, you have hi-hats. And what I mean by hi-hats is everybody up tall and they standing up because they're doing pass protection. Now, if it was a low hat, that means it was coming downhill, they was running, they trying to push the defensive lineman off the ball, but they're not. If you look at this sequence, look at the hi-hats. So that's telling me as a corner, man, this is a trick play. Something is about to happen. And also, y'all really haven't been having a running game, really, as in the Pittsburgh Steelers. So that's my indication right there. If we can run it, I get another point to it.
Sure. And as this runs, if you see on the far left third of the screen, that's cornerback Mike Hughes lined up against Deontay Johnson. Honey Badger has the deep middle of the field, and then Charvarius Ward has the far right side. You can see him circled, matched up against Ray McLeod on this play. We're going to pause it here again, Ike.
Yeah, so if you look at Ward, before we paused it, Ward had did something called a speed turn, which is rare now when it comes down to technique for the NFL corners. So speed turn will always get you back on top to where you need to be. If you open up towards the receiver will always have a step ahead of you. But the fact that Ward has speed turn, and now you can start to see the cover 3. So you can see Ward getting back into his zone. You can see the Honey Badger, he's sitting in the middle of his zone. And you can see the other corner, well, you can't see the other corner, but he's sitting in his zone. And if you look at the linebackers, 2 linebackers in the inside, they're doing exactly what they need to do. They're retreating. So now they see it's not a run. Let me retreat. Let me get back to the flats. Let me get back to the hook curls. Let me get back in my zone in my area. But this is perfectly ran by the Kansas City Chiefs, because right now the Pittsburgh Steelers don't have a run game. If we could just fast forward this play.
And Charvarius Ward with the speed turn gets the depth he needs on this play as well, as he makes a great play on the interception.
Yeah, so they always taught, and I only caught a few of these in my life. We was always taught to high point the ball. And if you didn't know no better, if you knew nothing about football, you thought Ward was the receiver, and you think McLeod is the cornerback. That's just how good of a position he's in. And he's up there. Right now, he's skywalking. So for me, looking at a DB, regardless on whether you're Pittsburgh Steelers, just DBs in general, I feel like we're just one of a few. It's only 64 of us, in the NFL, if you think about it, that started right or left side corner. But for Ward to jump up and catch this and high point this, you're coached this, and everybody don't get coached too good in NFL, but this is a lot of good athleticism. He's high pointing the ball. You can see his eyes on the ball. Even in this clip right here, you can just see he's looking the ball in the whole time.
And what this side angle shows too, I know the Steelers are trying to make a play, but Ben Roethlisberger throwing the ball up here, Ray McLeod almost goes to the defender to try to prevent the interception. Ray McLeod is jumping as high as he can on this play too. He had no chance at catching this pass. And again, I know it's a trick play. I know the Steelers are trying to catch the Chiefs on their heels. But we were talking a little bit before the podcast. This reminds me of growing up when you play 500 in the backyard, 500 dead or alive, and you just throw it up. My point being, Ray McLeod had no chance to catch this ball. So he goes from receiver to defender to try to prevent the interception on this play. And again, I go for the young DBs out there, the depth that Ward got on this play, because he can then high point the ball like you said, Ike.
Yeah, in a perfect world, if it was a Juju or if it was a Deontay, Ray McLeod, in a perfect world, he should have did an 18-yard stop. And Ben probably would have put it on the button. But the fact he hasn't been playing receiver a lot throughout the course of his Steeler career, he just kind of ran a route he was supposed to run. And Ben just kind of threw it out there. So to Ben's defense, either I'm throwing it in the dirt or I'm throwing it overhead where nobody can catch it. I know he always throw the balls up so some guys can make plays like a Chase Claypool do for him all the time. But at this particular moment, this flea flicker ain't working because the running game ain't working. So if I was if I was a seasoned Ray McLeod, I would have stopped at 18 or 20 yards and put Ben in a better situation. But Ben also has to know who his personnel, who he's throwing to, who like jump balls, who don't like jump balls.
And we can continue to run this play here. And so, again, I go back to the depth that the defensive backs got, because usually on a flea flicker, they commit and bite down on the run, but they've got the depth that they need on this play, Ike.
And he got the style points come down with that one hand, too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we're going to see what it looked like here on TV here in just a second. And you see safety one, Thornhill, come down, because initially it looks like a two-deep shell, but as the play runs, he comes down as the snap. It snapped, and we're going to pause it again here so you can see the cover three shell. So again, at the top of your screen, you see Chiefs cornerback Mike Hughes lined up against Deontay Johnson. In the deep middle, you've got Honey Badger. And then in the bottom third, you see Charvarius Ward has the bottom third that you can see on your screen. And he's the one who made a great leaping interception on this play. But again, you see this here, Ike, and you mentioned the hi-hats. On a flea flicker, you want to catch the defensive backs coming downhill because they're being overly aggressive, and that just never happened here on this play.
Right, that's good eyes. That's good eyes by the secondary guys. You can tell they're not biting on the run. You can tell they're looking at the hi-hats by the offensive lineman. Now here comes our cover three, and our cover three, because you can see it from this view, you can see the two corners sitting by the numbers. That mean it has a deep thirds. Whether it's two or three receivers on their side. You can see Honey Badger sitting in the middle. That's exactly where he needs to be. He got deep middle post third. So this is perfect. And as soon as Ben gives the Najee this ball and Najee gives him back the flea flicker, yes, you can see the inside linebackers. Look, they might bite on the run, but after that, they will retreat. So this is a well-coached on the Kansas City Chiefs defensive side. This is a well-coached defense. Their eyes are exactly where they need to be. That's why they came up with this play, this interception by Ward on the bottom right-hand screen.
And as this play runs, it flips the field for the Chiefs, and they're able to go down and get a 2-score lead following the interception, following the turnover. That turnover differential, Chiefs had 3 takeaways defensively. Steelers didn't have any. That was a key difference in Sunday's game.
Yeah. Anytime you win that kind of battle, the takeover situation, it's going to be tough to win ball games, man. Coach LeBeau used to always put them up. You know, we take the ball away from the opposing team offense, man. We're going to always put not only our team, not only defense, but we're always going to give our offense more chances than none. So that's exactly what the Kansas City Chiefs did to the Pittsburgh Steelers yesterday.
We're going to take a quick break now, Ike, to tell our listeners and viewers about lightboxjewelry.com. And it's the holiday season. We're approaching the new year. If you need to get that special someone some jewelry, maybe you're thinking about popping the significant question, lightboxjewelry.com is the place to go, Ike.
Yeah, anytime you hear bling bling, think about lightboxjewelry.com. Never, ever, 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 ever a dull moment when we talking about Lightbox Jewelry. We keep just like them fat number 2 pencils back in the day. We keep them real sharp, baby. So if you want to stay sharp, go to lightboxjewelry.com. Never a dull moment.
And you can see that on your screen for the viewers of the Bleav in Steelers podcast. So I'm happy to have them as a sponsor here on the show, Ike. Other Week 16 observations, and we'll go really quickly before we wrap up here. After Joe Burrow's 525-yard performance, Ike, I'm comfortable saying this. I think the AFC North is his division. And we'll see if the Bengals hang on to make the playoffs. They're going to have a tough game in Week 17 against the Chiefs. But Joe Burrow, it wasn't just his 525 yards, which was the most in Bengals history and the 4th most in NFL history. 575 yards of offense, 50% conversion on 3rd down attempts, and dominating the time of possession. They had the ball for more than 37 minutes in the game against the Ravens. Now, I know the Ravens are decimated by injuries, so it's with that caveat. But Joe Burrow really starting to round into form, Ike. In my opinion, the division's going to run through him for the time being because Lamar Jackson's incredible, but he's hurt right now. We know the shortcomings of Baker Mayfield, and Big Ben might be playing the final 2 games of his career in Week 17 and 18. Joe Burrow. Steelers are in trouble if they got to go up against him twice a year, Ike. He was incredible. We saw that on display on Sunday.
Yeah, so the defensive coordinator told Joe, said, man, I'm not going to give Joe Burrow the gold jacket just yet. Joe Burrow said, you know what, since you're not going to do that, I'm gonna get the gold jacket today. So I'm going to go ahead and hit half of a thou wow. If y'all don't know what a thou wow is, that's 1,000. So I'm going to go ahead and put half 1,000 up on your defense, 525 yards. That's what the hell I'm going to do. So, no, I don't have to get a gold jacket in general, but today going against your defense, I'm definitely going to get a gold jacket. And that's exactly what Joe Burrow did. So then they asked Joe Burrow about the DC, about his comments after the post-game comments after the game. And all Joe said, it wasn't necessary for him to say that. But I know exactly what Joe Burrow was saying. Joe Burrow had his Santa Claus hat on, had his Santa Claus shirt on. And he was like, man, I just blessed them with all the gifts. Then it gave me 525 yards of total offense, all because of me. So, yeah, Coach, keep opening up your mouth. I done swept the Pittsburgh. I done swept your butt, and this is exactly what I'm doing. This is a new sheriff in town.
Hey, a thou wow for Joe Burrow or half of that. And I hope you had T. Higgins on your fantasy team. To the listeners and viewers, T. Higgins and Joe Burrow might have won you your fantasy football league because of their performance in Week 16 of the season. My top 4 teams in some order. I'm still sorting this out. I got 2 from the AFC and 2 from the NFC. NFC, I've got Packers and Bucks. AFC, I've got Chiefs and Patriots. Those are my top 4 teams. Again, I'm not sure quite the order. Anyone else you like? Those are the 4 teams right now that, in my opinion, are playing the best football.
Man, I'm gonna go Chiefs Bengals.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with the Chiefs and Bengals because I'm starting to see, this league catch on to you fast. Mac and Cheese sitting over there, the quarterback for the New England Patriots. You ask him to throw over too many times, man, it don't look good at all. It really don't. It don't look good. You ask him to win some games. Now he's a very nice trailer, beautiful trailer, beautiful. Not a truck.
He's still a rookie too, but I hear what you're saying, Nike.
But you can really tell. I think it was jumping on the bandwagon too early for him. So I'm gonna go ahead and slide with Joe Cool. I'm gonna slide with Joe Cool. So I'm gonna say the Kansas City Chiefs, and I'm gonna say Joe Cool because Joe Cool he might have, other than Tom Brady, he might have the best trio of receivers between Tom Boyd, T. Higgins, and Jamar Chase. That's them three dogs right there. And we ain't even talking about the offensive line and what Mixon doing, dancing Mixon, what he doing every time he step in the end zone. So right now we love Justin Herbert. I love him, but right now he's not Joe. Joe just doing it. He's beating the teams he's supposed to beat. That's exactly what Joe's doing. Justin, I thought that was a surprise for me against the Houston Texans of Justin Herbert. Them boys coming out for that one. So, yeah, I agree with you with the NFC. I'm looking at the Bucks and the Packers 100%. Out the AFC, I'm going to go with KC and the Bengals.
Okay. And KC and the Bengals, they play in Week 17, Ike. So we're going to see them head-to-head here this upcoming weekend. So that's going to be great. I want to say this as well. We've talked about Baker Mayfield ad nauseum. I looked this up. He has the most interceptions thrown in the league since coming into the NFL in 2018. The writing's on the wall there in Cleveland. I just want to state that again. I know he's been dealing with injuries, but the Browns played about as well of a game as they could have against the Packers, nearly won on Christmas Day. But when you come up short, and it's really the quarterback's responsibility because Mayfield threw 4 interceptions, and it should have been 5. Should have been 5 if not for a dropped interception. We've talked about the talent that the Browns have. At this point, I'm concerned from the Steelers' standpoint of if the Browns bring in a quarterback in the offseason via trade, maybe through the draft, Browns might just be a quarterback away because they played Green Bay extremely tough at Lambeau Field on Christmas Day. And to me, it was the difference of having a quarterback who's competent and having one that's not. I'm comfortable saying that again. I know Mayfield's been banged up this year with injuries, but you can't keep throwing. You can't keep giving the ball away to the teams. And I point to the interceptions, 54, most in the league since he came in as a rookie in 2018.
I mean, it's not his fault. I mean, I be telling people all the time, like, you can't say he'll bust. You can't say he's not living up to his potential. Man, sometimes you just got to blame the front office. You know what I'm saying? It's not his fault he went first pick. You know what I'm saying?
I don't understand why they're not starting Keenum over him, but that's a whole nother discussion. Like why the Browns organization is not protecting him, because I don't think he's anywhere close to 100%. That's just my 2 cents worth.
Is they trying to protect him? So now I got a reason.
Listen, you're asking the question like you already know the answer. We both know the answer. Let's be honest here.
Yeah, now I have a reason like, okay, don't nobody care if you hurt. Once you step in the training camp for if you're a football player, we all banged. Don't nobody care. Everybody banged up. The sad part about it was when you was winning and you was hurt, you never said you was hurt. But now you're losing, you're saying you're hurt. See, Tom Brady didn't say he was hurt till the offseason. You know? But Peyton Manning didn't know he was hurt or didn't say he was hurt till the offseason. Yep. He knew he was hurt the whole time. So it's like, dang, Coach T got a good saying. People don't care about your problems, they're glad you got them. Because we always say better you than me. So don't nobody care, bro.
Ike, one other final thought before we sign off here. The Packers acquisition of Rasul Douglas, 5 interceptions in 10 games for the Packers. He's had quite the journey this year. Was on the Raiders in April. From April to August, he was cut. signs with the Texans for 6 days, cut again. Then on the Cardinals practice squad for a month. Again, now with the Packers, 5 picks in 10 games. Sometimes it's those acquisitions mid-season, like what Melvin Ingram did for the Chiefs and what they're doing since you talked about him being a run bully on previous episodes of the Bleav in Steelers podcast. Rasul Douglas for the Packers. What an acquisition for them. He's been a difference maker for that Green Bay defense. It's one thing I wanted to mention here before we sign off here.
I'll tell you what. Rasul Douglas, the corner for Green Bay, other than Diggs sitting over there from the Dallas Cowboys and him being hot and him being in the zone, anything that in this area code he's catching, got 11 picks. He leads the league in that. He got more picks than a lot of people have touchdowns. So that's saying a lot. But what Douglas has been doing, Douglas has been getting cut for the past 2 years. What they about to do for Douglas is cut him a check. The way he
Well, Merry Christmas to Rasul Douglas, Ike. And you mentioned the 11 picks for Diggs. That is remarkable. Night Train Lane has the record, 14 interceptions in 12 games. This is incredible because they didn't even pass the ball that much back in the day either. So Night Train Lane, again, 14 interceptions in 12 games in an era where you don't have the high-flying, high-powered, pass-heavy offenses that you see in the modern-day NFL.
Yeah, shout out to Night Train Lane because who played opposite of him was the great Dick LeBeau.
I think that's a great place to wrap, Ike. I want to give you a shout out, wish you a Merry Christmas. We're into the holiday season. You're the absolute best, Ike Taylor. Want to thank our producers over at Brinks TV. Want to thank the Bleav Podcast Network as well. Today's sponsors, betonline.ag and Lightbox Jewelry as well. And thank you to the listeners and the viewers of the Bleav in Steelers podcast. Happy holiday season.
I'm piggybacking off of Mark and what he just said, so I don't say it twice.
That was well done, Ike. For Ike Taylor, I'm Mark Bergin. Thank you for listening to the Bleav in Steelers podcast. We will see you on Friday to preview Steelers and Browns. Until then, take care and so long, everybody.
Peace.